And I don't know, what is the last figure we have for a surplus, do you know?
Yeah, right here. Last figure for surplus is
You're talking general fund?
General fund, I'm sorry.
Oh, general fund.
I'm sorry.
45,257?
I'm sorry.
47,
47.
37.
Okay. So that would be the first time we passed a surplus that we are positive in the budget for a long time, as trustee Lou was telling me about everything. One thing I was concerned about, I got to tell the board, and Treasurer Britton and I talked about a couple of days ago, was that we had some discrepancies as far as the water billing and the water purchases. And if you look at the budget, the water purchases have gone up roughly about $400,000. The revenue only went up $100,000. If that's usually what you're talking about, your revenue should go up probably about $700,000. There's a problem there. We don't know why exactly it is. We're investigating, Treasurer Britton is right on it. She's investigating where we might have missed the boat here. Not only that, but the water debt service bond, we had to transfer $122,000 from, I don't know if it's general or water. Did you finally decide?
I believe it was from general. Which
Yeah,
is general.
General.
Okay.
Because there was not enough money from the surcharge. Right, is that right? There's not enough money from the surcharge to fund the bond payment, so we're $122,000 short. That is very concerning to me too, because I wonder where our collections are here if we're the $122,000 off, from.
It's not collections, it's billings.
On collections.
It's the debt service.
Yeah. We only get it when people pay it.
Do we know, and I don't know that Treasurer Britton would know, but is this the first time, at least, this is the first time I'm seeing a transfer from the general fund into the water debt service to make the payment?
I believe you would have seen it before, except that I think it was probably transferred at the end of the year. So, for example, I don't know that it was in a budget. I think probably at the end of the year when the auditors came, they would go ahead and effect those transfers through an audit entry, and then those would be put in. And since we only have the 2013 final, and we're still waiting just for the 14, 15, so it's very, very likely that you would not have seen it. And remember, this is just projected. If you're in fact our surcharge, the billing goes up in the next 4 months, we might not have to transfer any money, or half of that or something. It's projected. It's just
Right.
So that we can see realistically, what funds are falling short, revenues versus expenditures.
But I know that the board was very careful when we approved the surcharge, that it would be enough, based on the numbers we had and the number of users, that surcharge would cover the water bond debt service.
Treasurer Britton saying that may be the case.
It may be, but
It may be.
But if it's not, we definitely have a
Can
problem.
we find the number of inactive accounts that we have?
Yes.
Because each one is about $130 a year.
Yeah.
So
Closed accounts, I think.
closed or inactive.
Yes,
Empty
right.
homes.
Now, Maureen has to go piece by piece, unless you know some way you're doing it, but maybe Ms. Britton, but basically you have to go, she doesn't know how to run a report for a closed account, she has to go over, look piece by piece.
I was going to ask another question.
Okay, sorry.
When we bill these people, and some of the people that are behind, do we automatically take the surcharge and the late fees first off the top before?
It's split
No.
evenly.
When we bill people and they're late, the system itself is set up to, water gets paid first. It's in buckets, that's what they call it. So water gets paid first. I believe they have a hierarchy. I believe garbage is next. So if you have a $100 bill and you pay $50 is going to go to water. If, for example, your $100 bill only 40 is water, 40 of that will go to water and 10 will go to garbage, and so on and so on. That is how it works in terms of
That's how it's
applying
set up
those.
here,
that's how it gets.
Because I know some
applied.
towns make sure that they kind of surcharge
It's
paid
paid for.
upfront.
Right.
And then the late charges get paid,
And
and then
then-
their balance
right.
is the rest.
Well, I think the philosophy is you buy water from somebody else, whether it be City of Chicago or Mid-Mar. So obviously,
You
the
gotta
first thing
pay
you're
that
gonna
back.
do is have the water, any money collected is gonna go to the water bucket first, before anything else. And the same thing with garbage. You pay an outside company garbage, so that's usually your second priority, is to make sure that that's funded.
You know, another thing I'd like to bring up is the board was getting monthly receivable reports, and we haven't gotten them in a very long time, and they were very useful. And I would like us to get back on track getting those reports every month.
Yes,
Because how can we manage or make decisions if we don't have that data?
yes.
Would you
And I
do you
can
agree?
run, I can run those receivable reports, I ran them for the clerk a few days ago, and we can have them in Excel, if you'd rather have them in Excel versus a PDF, so that you can sort them, and it's no problem.
Okay, we were getting them, we were getting extensive reports.
Well, can you know, I think Maureen has, she wants to set up the report so we can understand it. You know, I think sometimes you can put too much in there and it gets too confusing, so I think, you know, I mean, I don't know what the format of the report was, but, you know, she wants to make sure that these numbers are understandable by the board so we can take action.
Well, I
Well,
think that,
whenever they're run, they're showing what the actual outstanding is for all the accounts that are outstanding.
Right.
right.
I mean,
I think the most useful thing would be to always run it the same day,
Yes.
every month,
Yes.
whatever that day is.
Right.
And then make sure that it gets emailed to the board, because sometimes we might not have a meeting for a week or two. But that makes the most sense, and you're consistently looking at the same thing every month, whatever date.
That makes sense.
Right.
do you want just totals or you want detail?
I'm sorry?
You want just totals or just detail?
Well, totals are going to give us the big picture, you know, and I think, you know, Marina and I talked about running them on the 15th of the month, since that seems to be sort of a neutral time where you're not, since a lot of the easy past dues are done, you know, and picked up, and then, you know, you still have the major past dues that are still, so that gives the board the big picture. Because I don't know how you feel about that, I don't want to tell you your business, but I'm just asking.
I think it makes sense to run it the day after the bills are due. So if the bills are due on the 15th,
Yeah.
then run them on the 16th or 17th. If the bills somehow are due because there's a day late or maybe a day early, whatever date the bills are due, run them the next day or the day after that. And then you always know,
It's consistent.
20 days.
you always know, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In other words, you're asking if we should have a list of the most past due people that you're talking about?
No, I'd say I'm looking at the full list of everybody that's outstanding.
Well, I think,
Now, what I'm doing with them is I'm totaling them by groupings. The ones, you know, 1s, 2s, 3s, and 5s. Okay. So they get a total of each of those groups, because they're different billing grades. So I'm just looking at more of the past due, or the ones that are consistent past due with balances all the way across. So, I mean, you could
well, I
do,
think the, you know, what the board really is a lot of time concerned about is the most past due, 90s and like 90s past. To know who they are they businesses, are they, you know, and you know, your point, are they consistently the same people? If we see the report, it's always the same people and their balances haven't gone down, then we got an issue. And that's what you're trying to tell us. So I think that would be something, right? Am I speak out because I'm
No,
just,
no,
this is
and
my
are the
opinion.
shut-offs, are the shut-offs being done consistently?
Oh, we're doing everything we can.
No, I know.
We have to get a list.
Right.
But are they being done on a regular basis, consistently? That's really important.
I would, well, number one, I would like to say, Joe has been amazing. He's always terrific when we ask him for help. I do think that we could be better at shutting off. When I say we, I mean the administrative, because, and I know Joe, if he doesn't have his people doing other things, he would support us in.
Right, but he doesn't know about it until administration tells
I've
him.
always said that I'll put 3 guys out there if you,
Right, if we can,
but I
So-
gotta get the reports.
but,
It
so I
it
guess
depends
that's,
on what they're told to do. That really, I think, is what it comes
but
down to.
my concern is we need to be consistent about what those shut-offs. Because that's creating a lot of this problem. The other thing is were we going to amend our ordinance with the
Yes,
phone calls?
yes.
And if
Yes,
that gets
that's
to
a
happen, I think we need to amend the ordinance next week.
So Karen,
Well,
I
the
think
attorney said he was going to amend them, I don't, we'll see if we can get that.
it might behoove us to get Maureen in here to talk about some of this, because I don't know the administrative part of this. And when I say, hey, I'm just like you, hey, let's get the money coming in. you
Right,
know?
right, and I
She'll
don't
say, well, it's a little harder
Right.
than you think, because there's
Right.
other things they have to deal with. So you might want to talk to her.
There are some issues that I looked at, some large ones that are multi-unit buildings that has 1 meter that feeds them all.
Yes.
It has many meters, has one turnout.
No,
No, 1
this
meter.
first one is
Oh,
one
that's right, that's right.
one building that's got multi-units, it's got 1 meter,
Right,
okay?
right,
To shut them off, we got to notify everybody,
yes.
okay? So, I mean, that's one issue that goes there. So we're not shutting them off and they're slowly paying, but,
And do you know who was in those units?
well, we don't need to know who's in the units, we need to know who the building owner is, and yes, we do. That's who's paying the bill. The individuals aren't
We
paying.
don't have to notify the individuals.
We do if we're going to shut it off. We're going to
That's
shut the
what I'm
building
saying.
off,
If you don't
we
go
have
to
to
the
post
hours.
it on every door.
Okay, we can't do it by mail like what we're doing now.
No, we
Okay.
post it on the building doors and the doors of the units.
I know I've talked to, Maureen a lot about this, and basically she is telling me that, they are consistently working on this according to the process of the ordinance. And basically, most people will come in and make a payment or make payment arrangements to avoid shut-offs, but there's always going to be a list of 15 to 20 every billing period that's going to go to Joe.
Don, in Joe's report last month, it shows that there was 9 shut-offs, or sorry, 8 shut-offs for the month of January,
Right,
and 9 turn-ons for the month of January, so it may not be that high,
okay.
if that's consistent.
Okay. I mean, if you want to talk to Maureen, that's fine, but I mean, every time we talk, that's the subject of it, and basically she's got Robin working on this on a consistent basis. There is no leeway, according to Maureen, there is no leeway. It's basically the same payment terms for everyone. That's the end of the story. That's it. And, part of again, she talked about before, is that a lot of the rental housing is the source of a lot of this problem. And that's the hardest to track, and she wants to change the ordinance to make the owner responsible for the
Yes.
water for the rental house solely.
The ordinance reads that they jointly.
Jointly, she wants to make it solely, because she doesn't want the owner to come back and say, well, nobody told her, because as of right now, I didn't understand this, but as of right now, the tenant gets the water bill, but the owner doesn't. I thought
We need to send them to both.
we need to send them to both, and I thought Maureen
Absolutely.
said we were doing that, but I don't know. The bottom line is, I thought Maureen told me we were sending it to both, so they were both aware of the water bill problem. But there's been a number of owners, I know, Mike, you told me, that have come in and said, well, I didn't know anything about that, they didn't pay their water bill. Well, that's bad. So, Maureen and the rental housing is probably a very high percentage of this past due problem.
Well, and that's some issue between building and water.
Yes,
That we need to be able to communicate with both of those areas
yes,
to make
So-
this work.
yes.
And I know we have all the addresses and all of the information. We just
Yes,
need
for
to make
the,
it work.
for the ordinance.
Yes.
But the ordinance needs to be changed.
Well, for the telephone.
For the
that's all
telephone,
we're
so
saying.
we have that done
The
next week.
vacant, the rental housing ordinance, we should have all the information about who's in there, and so on and so forth.
So we're still talking about the budget, or
Yes, I'm
we
sorry.
were talking about that.
We're talking water. Sorry.
Not what our budget.
We're going to talk
We
about water,
we are,
this is in the budget.
we are. This all affects the budget.
Well, that's fine, let's go on to budget.